What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of June 21st through the 27th of 2021. Brian here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I am so grateful that you are taking time out of your day or out of your week, whenever you choose to watch this, to pay attention to my interpretation of the week and the planets. We are in Cancer season. Definitely was a heady Gemini season, and we learned a lot. I think that a lot of stories got rewritten, a lot of truths got rewritten, a lot of facts were showing up in different ways maybe than we would expect. It was very unexpected times, and we're still in unexpected times, but a lot of information, a lot of things have found us in our daily lives as individuals here. A lot of things have shown up in the collective consciousness as well, within the news or without in the world or whatever the media is saying. So there's a lot of information that we've dealt with, and here we are. It's Cancer season now, and all that information, now it's time to really feel it. So we've seen pages turn in our book, in our journey here, and now we get to really feel into what these changes mean. We're going to see Jupiter now retrograde this week, and will be until October. So a lot of that expansion has come to an end. A lot of information is kind of going to cool itself down. A lot of the visions that we've had are things that were showing up, and all these doors that were open in our lives. It's not that they're closed, but we have to really go inward and see what was already shown to us. What did the teacher, what did God already present to us, especially over the course of this year so far, and over the eclipse season and Gemini season. There's a lot that was shown up, and now we got to make sense of it within ourselves and expand from within. So we don't want to look for too much expansion outside, although of course we can always expand things outside, but the expansion now is really introspective on what you learned, taking that in, deciding if it fits your belief systems, if it fits your spiritual presence on this planet. How especially with Jupiter and Pisces going retrograde, it's bringing up our spiritual identification, our truth, a lot of visions, a lot of things, that how we really connect to source and to that energy. So it's almost like there's just a little moment here where God's saying, hey, you guys got to figure it out now. I've shown you everything you get to see. And with Neptune going retrograde this week as well, it's some of that energy as well. So there's veils that are going to be lifted so that we can navigate now. It's our turn. So there's been a lot going on. Now it's time for us to really feel in and navigate where this information and where these waters are taking us in our own reality. We're going to see Mercury go direct this week on Tuesday. Thank God. This has been an intense Mercury retrograde. Like, whoa. So, at least in my life, it has been. Maybe you too. It seems like the narrative out there is everybody really felt this one, and I'm not one to, get all crazy about a Mercury retrograde. We get it the most often, and it's the smallest planet. Usually it's very small things. This one was rehashing out of a lot more than that. It's almost like an entire book that we've written, and then and go through and review that whole book in a very short amount of time. So it was an intense 3 weeks. That comes to an end. We're also at the beginning of the week going to see this Jupiter retrograde, which went retrograde on Sunday, and this Mercury retrograde, both stationary. Mercury about to come direct, Jupiter stationary retrograde. So they're both, very, very much stopped. Our higher mind, our lower mind, right brain, intuitive, left brain, analytical. So the mind is just in a very interesting place right now, where there's so much that came in. There's so many different chapters, so much information, so much spiritual truth, spiritual karma, and then also stuff really close that we had to take care of in our own personal lives and in our environments that came up as well. So definitely an interesting first couple days to start this week, but I would say that it's helping us feel. We come into Cancer. We had the solstice on Sunday evening, so we're 0-0 Cancer today when I'm dropping this video on Monday, and it's definitely a powerful time to feel into things. So where are the feelings taking you? They can be up and down. It's going to be up and down times. The moon becomes a major factor with the sun in Cancer. Of course, Cancer being the emotions and the moon ruling our emotions. Of course, dignified in Cancer. So it becomes that dispositor for the sun in Cancer, and it's in Scorpio to start the week. So extremely deep and emotional times here, and making a lot of aspects to Neptune, to Venus. Venus is coming up on an opposition to Pluto this week. So there's almost this foreshadowing early in the week of a major transformation that we have to feel into. We have to see where everything and every truth came to be in our life, feel into that, so that we can ignite. There's ignition with cardinal energy, and Cancer is no different. But it's almost like quiet the mind, feel. You have to feel into what has been presented to you, what is being presented to you, so that you can move in a direction that is going to be the most beneficial for your destiny. We're going to see a full moon this week in Capricorn, 3 degrees on Thursday. That's a destiny shot full moon in itself, and it's expansive, and it's that 3 degrees. Like it comes back to our beliefs. It comes back to if we believe we can go on the destiny that's been presented to us, if we believe we can go on the legacy or accomplish the legacy or accomplish the goals that we want in life. So we're being tested big time on beliefs with Jupiter going retrograde. Do we really believe in ourselves? This is a great week to figure that out, because we're going to see very clearly by the apex of that full moon on Thursday, do we really believe in ourselves 100%, and do we have that foundation within ourselves to push forward and to ignite the next chapter of the story that this solar eclipse in Gemini and the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, the story that ended and all the changes that have taken place? Do we have the stability within ourselves to push towards the legacy, to push towards the mission, to light up and still expand, but from within? And that expansion from within really is all about the belief in ourselves and knowing that we can do it. So if you believe in yourself and you feel good, you're doing great. If you don't, this is a week where that might shift, and all of a sudden you might have to realize that you need to change the way you believe about yourself and the way you believe about how you feel about yourself. So otherwise, you're never going to have the proper footing that you need to go after maybe goals that you set for yourself already this year, maybe goals that have been set for a while, maybe completely new goals show up out of nowhere. Maybe they were presented a couple weeks ago for the solar eclipse. A lot of that's taking place right now, and we're going to see where those things are going. Not only do we see a lot of this, but we're going to see that Sun trine Jupiter at 2 degrees of Cancer to the 2-degree stationed retrograde Jupiter in Pisces. Usually the luckiest day of the year, Sun trine Jupiter, or even Sun conjunct Jupiter. So we get some pretty lucky days throughout the year. There can be definitely abundance, but it's at 2 degrees, so there's just a lot that needs to be felt into, if you will, to get us onto the expansion, to get us onto the gifts. These gifts are much more internalized, and with Jupiter in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, I mean, these are spiritual gifts. It's almost like if you're looking for just something to come save the day or save your reality, Jupiter's not in Virgo right now, and even if it was, it'd be in fall position. It's not so much about something coming and saving your physical world. It's about you really tapping into where your spiritual truth is going, your spiritual destiny, your legacy, your connection to God, to the universe. That's the true gift. If you can come into that wholesome aspect right now, and you can almost find neutrality or be neutral and see that there are two sides to everything, to not just pick one side and hold that belief, but to feel, confident in yourself and in your structure and in what you do believe in about yourself, but to let other people have theirs too. It's another side. It's another story. It doesn't have to be your story. And just coming into that could be that could be one of the greatest gifts that we get this week, to be honest, is just that comfort and security within yourself to know that it's pretty wild times in life right now. And we're all going through it on one level or another, whether we're in our spiritual truth, whether we're awake to our spirituality or not. We're all going through something. Can we release some judgment? That, I think, will show a big level of where you're at in your own spiritual karma. And it'll show you it might be the final lesson, too, with this Jupiter. It's retrograde this week. Stopped. It's like this final lesson of, can you still expand from within yourself to ignite some sort of, get go for a direction that you want to, that you're being called to, or that is right for you. And with that full moon in Capricorn, it's a little cold. Like, you got to get to business. Like, it's about really getting to business, about the belief in yourself to conquer and to achieve the greatest things and the greatest goals that you can for your spiritual purpose on this planet. And it's major light worker activation times. I've probably said that enough times by now, but that's where we're at. And if you watch this channel, you're a light worker. If you don't watch this channel, or you hit it with a thumbs down, like, that's fine, you're not. Or maybe you are and you don't know it yet. It doesn't matter. But if you're into this and you're feeling this, this is where you're rooting into your gifts that you came here with, to find the neutrality, to find the balance, and to really go after the next chapter, because that eclipse changed our stories and our trajectory into the future. So where are we going into the future now? Do you believe it? Are you ready to get down to business with it? And can you find this sharpness or even this coldness with Capricorn to make big moves so that you can believe in yourself and stop playing out a story that you don't believe in yourself, or that you let other people put doubt into your mind? Because Capricorn, if there's one thing, Capricorn doesn't want to doubt that it's going to reach the top. It just trucks ahead and reaches the top. And you got to believe in yourself that you can do that for whatever your mission may be, for whatever it is that you want to do in your own personal life. And having that strong foundation is everything, so that you don't slip on your way up the mountain. And if you don't believe in yourself, this is a week where you might see yourself slipping more than usual. But if you believe in yourself, you might find this huge climax of energy that does want to show you every different route that will be better for you to reach the top. And it's your job to feel into which route's going to get you to the top in the way that you're meant to, that feels the best to you. Whatever that top is in your life. It doesn't have to be so hierarchy, in this aspect. It's just, what is it that you really want to do? We all have goals and plans. You got to feel into those things, and the gift is within you, and how you feel is everything. So we got to kind of drop the mind, especially early in the week, with both the planets that would deal with our mind being stopped, stationary, one retrograde, the other one coming direct. Get out of our mind for a second. How do we really feel about where we're going? And if you can answer that honestly and truthfully from within yourself, that's everything. Because if you have that truth, you will believe it, whatever it may be, and that's going to help you tremendously this week. We're also going to see Saturn sextile Chiron this week. That's a good one. They've been in sextile for a while, but they're going to hit exact with Saturn in retrograde. So, again, Saturn in Aquarius, it's back into 12 degrees, so it's off that 13th degree. And I think that there are, it's back into belief territory. And it's like, how you feel and how you believe is how you connect. If you don't feel it, if you don't believe it, what are you doing connecting to it? The sextile to Chiron in Aries is really, a lot of that is finding Chiron again at 12 degrees. It's finding that belief in yourself and in your individuality and how you can pioneer right now. And if you can come into your sense of ego in a powerful way that's unique to you, that's taking you further, that's empowering you to reach higher, to connect to the proper energies that want to not only see you succeed, but that want to see the best for people, the best for freedom, the best for, truly independence too, with Aquarius and Aries. We have to be free to express and to connect. And I think this is a big one where we're going to have to learn how to disconnect from what energies or people in life are making you feel like some weirdo, Chiron and Aries, making you feel like some creep. We got to find that power, that drive. And this is a great week for that. So anytime that you feel like you're getting ostracized for being true to yourself, that is honestly the universe showing up and saying, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're on your journey, but you have to be strong in your identity, because if you're strong in your ego and you know your value and you know where you're going right now, that's where your wisdom's at. And you can connect and do big things for the people and big things for society right now by just being true to where you're going. And it's all about the belief. So you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in the people that are charging forward into the innovative future with you. And if people are not, that's okay, but you don't have to believe that someone's going to follow along and just take your hand, or they're going to reach out and give you their hand. You kind of have to break away, figure out how to do this better for yourself. And I think that's important this week. So much strength and wisdom will come from that. And it does take courage to be an individual, especially in the times we're living in now. By the end of the week, of course, we're going to have Neptune go retrograde on the 25th. The Neptune retrograde kind of lifts the fog. So there could have been things that were deceiving you in your life, or wherever Neptune's at in your chart, you could have been deceiving yourself. Neptune retrograde kind of like God showed you everything that you need to see. Same with Jupiter retrograde, especially both these planets in Pisces. What are you going to do now that the fog's lifted? Are you going to stay in a delusion state about something, or did you get enough information to use it for your benefit? So hopefully we're able to use that for our benefit, and hopefully, it's kind of like, in our world, hopefully we see the curtain kind of roll up in the Wizard of Oz here, and we see less less deception. But I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's kind of wishful thinking at this point. I do think it comes eventually, and it definitely could with a North Node in Gemini. It could come. But I think it's more important right now to focus on ourselves, especially with the sun in these first, it's going to be 6 degrees by the end of the week. We're really dealing with ourselves right now in Cancer and our own feelings. So we don't want to expect things outside of us to save the day, to save the show for us. It's really about us, how we feel, and the projection of life that we're seeing. And I think there's a responsibility with this full moon in Capricorn to be responsible about how you're feeling. If something's making you feel some way, that's not something's fault. It's your own fault. And we all have, it's not even your fault, but it's you. You have to sit down at the round table with yourself, your guides, your higher self, and hash out why you're feeling some way and what you can do to reach further and reach past that and get the foundation that you're looking for. And on Sunday, we're going to see Venus come into Leo and join Mars. It brings a lot of fire. Venus is a hot Venus. It's a hot Mars in Leo. So the fire's burning very, very strong within us. Mars can have people a little edgy and stubborn, and there can be an aggressive nature to what's going on in our life, or we can even have sort of an aggressive nature. But at the same time, it's courage. It's love. If we're channeling from our heart and we're acting accordingly from our heart and from our emotions and how we feel, big props. Big things can happen. We're going to see that Mars make great aspects to the nodes with a sextile to the North Node and a trine to the South Node in Sagittarius. So that's kind of a destiny shot about, are we letting our heart guide us? How does that make us feel? And is it feeling good? Then yes. If it's feeling bad, that's a clear sign, but we have to make that judgment call for ourselves. And that's unique to each and every one of us about our feelings. Nobody is going to feel life for you. You have to feel it for yourself. And have the courage to go through those emotions too. And Venus is going to help soften it a little bit. Venus is receptive, so we can be receptive to love. We might want to show more love to people, which is great. We should always show love, but don't forget about yourself too. And I think Venus in Leo is going to help us show ourselves the love and the respect and the value that we do deserve to go through emotions, to go through the feelings that are oh so important right now after coming through such a heady time with the Mercury retrograde and eclipses in Gemini and a lot of Gemini energy over the past couple months. We need to feel, and we need to let our heart do some work too, because the mind, it kind of got a break with Mercury retrograde, but it's going to get ramped up again, and we can't just let the mind do everything. We got to make sure that we're doing things that feel good and that we're not just doing things that make us feel terrible or be in relationships that are taking our shine, or taking our authenticity and our creative abilities. So be creative, be true to yourself, shine your light as bright as you can, but it's not about making other people or forcing anybody else to shine either. This is really about focusing on your world, your shine, and how that makes you feel. What's making you feel like you're bright and shining and illuminating, and what doesn't. That's everything. And the belief that you can shift things into a new story and have that ignition to do so is oh so important this week. All right, so let's jump into the charts, go through the week, and see what's up. All right, Monday, that's today. This is, kind of in the past, so it's almost like it didn't happen. We're in the now, which now is, as I'm recording this, 3:50 p.m. on the West Coast. So we're going to have that sun at 00 Cancer. The day is ruled by Pluto. Today's extremely transformative, and with a moon in Scorpio, I mean, this is not like the easiest of days, I'll be honest. There are some beautiful aspects, but this is very deep, very introspective. Surface level is just not going to do it, and we're being forced to get into our feelings and make sure that we are moving in the direction that does feel deeply aligned with our spirit, deeply aligned with the right people, deeply aligned with our spiritual mission. We're going to see a grand trine with Neptune, Venus, and the moon, and that's a big deal. In water with the sun at 00 Cancer, got to feel. Like, feeling is everything, and it's a super sensitive day. So what is showing up? Don't shy away from your feelings. Don't say, no, I'm just going to not deal with that. Like, no, those feelings are as important as it gets, and they're trying to open up a big portal to, I think a lot of self-discovery, a lot of, inner foundational work, inner spiritual foundational work, and, to show you where your passion lies. Like, this is getting down, scraping the bottom of the barrel today on this Monday. So what's up and what's showing up? And are you ready to rise up from it? Or are you ready to transform the story and the narrative? That's important too. We are going to see, of course, Venus and Neptune in their trine together, even, before the moon gets there. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, that's like heart chakra opening times 1 million. Maybe not that much, but what's trying to come in so that we can receive? It's likely something heavy. Like, I'll be honest, today's a heavy day with a Mercury that's going extremely slow, just 5 minutes a day, and with Jupiter going 13 seconds a day. Like, they're stopped, and Jupiter's now retrograde. So today, Monday's like a last roll call. Like, are you ready to rise up and transform and ignite the passion within you and the intuitive senses within you to kind of ditch all the stuff that your mind might be trying to tell you, whether it's any sort of self-doubt, whether it's, dealing with other people. Like, can you really feel into what makes you feel good, to what makes you feel connected, and to move in the direction that you're being called in? And that's gonna be so important. And I think that is something that makes this Monday special. We are going to see Mars at 6 degrees Leo, and that's an important one, I think, too, for being open to receive love and acting to receive, doing the things that we love so that we can receive that back. So I think there's definitely a give and a take today, where we want to shine, but we have to let other people shine. We don't want to just outshine everybody. You got to find some sort of balance in the midst of the depths of all the feelings. But again, if you're in your heart and you're feeling, because we have to feel right now, and I know some Capricorn or Aquarius out there is like, no, like you gotta get in those feels, because they're gonna open up the doors here and the doors are closing. Like this week, the doors kind of shut, and it goes back to it's like summer school with all the retrogrades. And it's like, what'd you learn? What'd you take in? What philosophies? What expansions did you start up? And now you have to go see if they really are the thing, and if they actually feel good, and if they fit into your life. I think Monday's a good introspective day for that. I'll be honest, if it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. Like, that's just Cancer season right now, and especially this week. Come to Tuesday, we're going to get that sun at 1 degrees of Cancer. And this is, I think Tuesday's a pretty solid day. We are going to see Mercury go direct. So that's nice, because this has been a Mercury retrograde from the depths of you-know-where. Like, wow. It's also with Lilith. So there's just been a ton of heavy, I want to say just heavy, intellectual, almost fear around the changes that we know we have to make. And it's like, oh gosh, do I really have to change that in my life? Well, does it make you feel good or not? Like, the things that really make you feel good, you probably don't have to change those things. The things that don't make you feel good, that you know are just like a burden, yeah, it's time. We're ready. And the sun at one wants to illuminate, and it wants to see the joy, and it wants to create. So we're creating based on how we feel. So Monday's a good day to really get to the nitty gritty of how you're feeling to start Cancer season, and then, how those make you feel and how do you illuminate from that place. It's going to get closer to the trine to Jupiter for the exact hit on Wednesday. And that can bring gifts, but I think these gifts are much more spiritual, and I think this Jupiter retrograde is much more, it's like, where are you really at on your own spiritual journey, and have you been actually following the signs? We might start to see if we have been or if we haven't been on Tuesday. But I think that there is a joy, there's a joyfulness and a happiness to Tuesday. Also, we're going to see that moon come into Sagittarius. So I think that there is just there's much more of an optimistic vibe on Tuesday than Monday. And where's that going to take us? And that moon's going to trine over to Mars in Leo. So there's definitely, action on how we're feeling. If we feel into it, do we want to identify with it? Does it make our heart happy? Does it make us feel good? Great. Let's expand it. Let's go. Let's explore. So it gets deep, but then I think Tuesday we rise up and we realize that we want to explore certain aspects in our life, but we're also starting to see Venus working on its opposition to Pluto, and we're going to start feeling that on Tuesday too, and that is not comfortable at all. That's, a lot of the comforts in our life, our values shifting and transforming. And we're starting to see now, like, were these things in our life spiritually meant to be there? And that is actually the gift, believe it or not, for good or for bad. Whatever wasn't meant to be is going to kind of fall away this week to show you where the real treasure does lie and the real value does lie in our physical world and how we can expand upon that. And I would say Tuesday and Wednesday are great days for that expansion in itself. And the moon will be with the south node, and it likes it there. It really does. So I think we can find a much deeper sense of comfort than maybe we did Sunday, Monday. And we might just be illuminating, we might just be in a much better mood. Although I think we can also feel that there's something big on the precipice that we can't just shy away from. Like, we have to look at that pretty seriously. And we're going to see the exact sextile from Chiron and Saturn. And, that comes back to really, finding our individuality and expanding upon that, expanding upon the right connections in life, expanding upon what doors we do want to open. It's not as erratic as 13 degrees, but we have to believe too. It makes a 3. So, how you feel is what you believe, as Christopher Witecki would say. And this is a big one, because that feeling and that independence and that ability to delegate your life and push forward and pioneer the way that you need to go, that's going to make you feel better, is so important. Like, there's just so much healing and wisdom and, like, evolutionary upgrades in that. And the idea is to evolve. The idea is to grow. So we have these identities with Chiron and ego right now. We're all going through this identity, like, whoa, is this who I really am? It's been this way for a few years now. It's in this second decan here, the 10 to 19 degrees. We're dealing with the outer world, with other people. It's not just so much about us now. It's about how we identify with the world, and especially with a sextile to Saturn in Aquarius. What is our place in society? It doesn't matter. As long as you're in your truth, you will find your place in society, and you will find your tribe. And that's where the healing energy is. You do not have to just fit into any standard or any belief system or connect to any righteous cause that could be going out in the world. Like, the righteous cause is the one with you and God. And if you're in that truth, and if you're doing what you're being called to and finding that path and illuminating that light from that direction and exploring there, boom, baby, you're doing great. You're living this Cancer season, and it probably feels amazing because you're seeing the right things open up. And if not, these are signs to shift and to change things, because we do still have this moon in a mutable sign. We have Jupiter immutable, Neptune immutable, Mercury immutable, the North Node, the South Node immutable. We're still in a time of change, and that eclipse energy is not just gone. Like that has staying power. Where do we believe things are going? Very important, and we are going to see the moon square Jupiter. So it's heavy, because I think there can be this joy and this like vision of how we can move in a direction because we're feeling good, but we have to be honest too, and we can't like be in some sort of, delusionary vision of what things can be as well. So really be honest with yourself about how you're feeling. I couldn't give any better advice than that. If you're honest about how you feel and you're illuminating from that perspective, and things do make sense, but they make sense from within you, and you don't have to overthink and like contemplate, you're in it. And that's dope. Wednesday, we get the sun at 2 degrees Cancer. Definitely a big feeling day. And it's on the precipice of this full moon that's building up for Thursday. We're going to see that moon come to 18 degrees of Sagittarius. It's going to oppose Mercury, which is now direct. So thank goodness that's now direct. It's an important day to feel, but what are we thinking about ourselves right now? What are we thinking about the way we feel? It's important to hash that out, because how we think affects how we believe. And we're building up to a full moon at 3 degrees, which is all about the belief of the next chapter and the belief of the next, the highest peak that we're going to try and reach. It's a big one. So are we able to, I would say on Wednesday, still be in sort of a jovial, happy place, look for the expansion, but also be focused enough to not just let our emotions get the best of us. So if we're not feeling good, and we're not listening to that, or we can't understand why. Like, why can you not understand why? Why does it not make sense? You have to almost like sit down with yourself and be like, and like hash it out, so that you can understand it yourself and get your mind on the same page as your emotions. Because if your mind is, trying to look at things right now and it's not understanding how you're feeling on Wednesday, that can be a very like, well, it can feel a little lost. And the moon's gonna square Neptune. It can definitely feel lost. It can feel all over the place. That's super sensitive. But like, again, there are signs, and this is the day before, 2 days. We're going to get Neptune retrograde on Friday, but this is a stop Neptune here. Like, this is spirit like giving us the last call. Like, here you go. Here's your intuitive hits. And I'm not saying that we're not going to get any intuitive hits, but these are big ones coming up to this full moon in this build-up phase. Like, where is the intuition flowing? Where are the feelings taking you? And can you understand them? Because if you can understand them and you can act on them, powerful times. And that Venus is 1 degree closer. It's going to make that, between Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to make that opposition to Pluto. And that's intense. And the moon's also going to sextile Saturn and trine Chiron. So there are, it takes like integrity, I would say, to make sure that you're connecting to your individuality and to make sure that you're expanding from within right now, to not get lost in what other people think of you, or what society thinks, or what society wants of you, or society's beliefs, but to be true to your authenticity and to be in that truth, to be in that, and get all the spiritual calls that are coming through, and not push the good stuff away that's trying to find you. It reminds me, actually, just came in with this, like, very Four Cupsy. Like, God's trying to give us this, like, great, like, nectar of a gift right now. And are we going to be too emotional and upset with things that are showing up in our personal life to expand upon the gift that is showing up? And that gift is going to be part of the transformation, and it's something that we likely didn't have, because Venus wants to be comfortable. Venus wants to be the goddess, and Pluto's like, I'm gonna tear this mother to the ground. You know what I'm saying? So there are things in life that just are not comfortable anymore in our personal lives, and that makes us feel a certain way, whether it be a relationship or a job or a money or something that has to do with money or your own personal values or the way you feel about yourself. That is a big one. And this is a good shift. I think, it's no coincidence that we get this right before the full moon, and it will be during the full moon too. It'll be separating, but we are releasing some serious baggage so that we can take in this last gift, this last beautiful goodness. And again, it's not like we're not going to get any more goodness. God is always bringing us the goodness. But this is a big one this week. This gift is straight from source to you in, I don't know, it just feels like a way that we never would have seen. And we're going to see that sun also make the trine to Jupiter. Like this is the day for the spiritual gift. It's just like you can be lost. We can get way too much in and even just our hopes and our beliefs with South Node and Sag of thinking that something else is going to fix the day or save the story. But we are saving the story for ourselves. And by being in that individuated state and by having that structure and that just determination to understand how we're feeling and to move in that direction and to not get too lost if things are not feeling good, because if they're not feeling good, there's a reason, and that reason is the gift that will shift things into a better feeling as well. So Wednesday's a big day. All right. Thursday, day before Neptune goes retrograde, we're going to see the sun come to 3 degrees, and we're going to see a full moon in Capricorn at 3 degrees. It'll be at 11:39 on the West Coast. So we won't see the apex here on the Northern Hemisphere, but we will feel it. It'll be right in the middle of our day, that's for sure. So how we believe about ourselves on Thursday, which is Jupiter Day, and Jupiter just went retrograde and just came off a trine to the sun. I mean, I can't stress enough, you have to believe in yourself right now. Because if you believe in yourself, whatever it is, you will be determined and you'll get there and you'll make it happen. Capricorn always reaches the top. Always. It's just how it works. Strong Capricorns always make it to the top. So we gotta believe in ourselves, be determined, define a direction. Super important here. And this full moon is going to be a heightened aspect of feeling into that. You have to feel into that 100%, and you will go in that direction, and it will ignite, because this is a very cardinal full moon. We've had a lot of mutability with eclipses. This is starting that new story and starting you to the peak of the next chapter. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that you can get to that next plateau? Do you believe that you can get up farther? Or are you going to get knocked down? So that comes back to really being within you. Venus will come off the exact opposition just before this full moon too. So that's also a clean slate, because we just had something that made us feel comfortable or made us feel good, probably ripped away to show us that it wasn't meant to be there anymore, whether it be a relationship or not. And it's already hard times coming off eclipses for relationships, and then getting a Venus opposed Pluto right after. That's heavy. If relationships are still good after this, they're good. Straight up. If they are rocky and they still made it past this, do they really make you feel good? And do you believe in that for the future? That's important too with this opposition. So very interesting. Very interesting dealing with money and markets in the world with Venus in opposition to Pluto. And that Pluto's on the progressed Bitcoin sun, and then Venus is going to oppose it. So I don't know, kind of looking at Bitcoin right now, it probably does go a little bit lower. No, I'm not opposed to buying at these prices at all. Dollar cost averaging, I wouldn't just stick all my money in it. But at the same time, it's getting juicy, and it might get juicier this week. We could see some big market action with this full moon energy and Venus opposite Pluto. Extremely heavy. But not only is it a full moon, it's making great aspects too. We got the sun still trining Jupiter. We got the moon in sextile to Jupiter in Pisces. I just think that this full moon's such an important one, because with this beginning and this station Jupiter, it's like Here is the last big bit of goodness that I'm going to give you to show you that you can believe in yourself. The rest is on you. And that's a hard one to say, but it's on our own shoulders now, and this full moon peaks that out. So how are we going to move forward now? And do we have that foundation within ourselves? And do we feel good enough about ourselves to keep progressing no matter what shows up? We're going to need that. Very important as well. All right, Friday we get Neptune stationing retrograde at 23 degrees. Very dualistic degree and one of the most dualistic signs. So we're going to have to go over a lot of things about duality in our reality, and God's saying we got to deal with it now. God definitely showed us everything we get to see to have us connect and to have us see the connectedness of everything and the wholeness of everything, and to come back to that oneness in Pisces. But there's also the cold hard reality of Pisces, which kind of comes through Virgo, the opposite sign. We're going to see some major things happen in our reality, maybe not this week, but over the next 5-6 months, that we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have the emotional strength. We're going to have the heart. And we're going to have the stability within ourselves to do it too. So, very interesting. The veil's kind of lifted though. It'll be interesting to see what the media does say with this retrograde action. What does start to come out. And, again, we have to use our own discernment now. I think we did anyways, but now it's even more so, like, don't get manipulated. Mercury still at 16 degrees, pretty much going to be there all week. It's at the spiritual degree too. Like, if we can understand our spirituality this week and get that footing, a lot. And 4-degree sun, we're opening up a lot of doors, and we're seeing a lot of different angles and trying to find some sort of stability. After going through a big full moon, seeing where those beliefs go, now we're like, okay, that was some heavy energy. It's a little erratic. On Friday, we're trying to feel good. Venus is getting off of the opposition to Pluto and getting close to Leo. At the same time, it's just like, whoa. I had to feel a lot, and I had to feel a lot with other people, with society, with our own selves. And there can definitely, force is a little erratic of an energy as well for the sun. So emotions are going to be at an all-time high because we're trying to figure out all these beliefs about ourselves and how we can ignite things and make things happen. What's going on with our relationships. We're going to see that moon start to make the opposition. It won't make the opposition just yet, but it's going to start getting there, and it's going to start heading towards Pluto, and it's going to square Chiron, and it's going to sextile Neptune. So we're in this place with the moon too, where we're like, okay, we really need to figure out the direction. We got to feel into that. Lots of feeling. And these feelings can be all over the place. And I think the Leo King said it best, like, we're going to be walking mood rings during Cancer season. Don't expect other people to match your mood. You have to have control over your mood. Whatever mood it is, it's okay to be in any mood that you're in. But I think that, you have to kind of break away and, like, deal with it inside yourself without projecting it onto other people in negative ways, while at the same time still really being in your truth and speaking, communicating that, because that's what Mercury wants at 16 degrees too, is you have to speak up for your spiritual truth and the information that has found you and the clarity that you have found through that Mercury retrograde and what showed up and what you had to rehash out within your own mind that's helping you believe in yourself more and go in that direction. And Neptune's, bringing some sensitivity to that energy as well with the moon, which is, again, our feelings and our sensitivities are everything this week. So feel them, please. They're going to help. Saturday, we get the sun at 5 degrees, and we're probably going to ask a lot of questions about how we've been feeling and about what beliefs shifted, and there's going to be a lot of, it could be a very talkative day, and Venus is getting edgy at 29 Cancer, where, we're going to have to communicate how we're feeling, If it's in relationships, it's big time. And we're going to see the moon, Pluto opposed that Venus. Definitely a big communication day for how we're feeling, and you don't want to get stuck on like the wrong end of not being truthful with how you're feeling, so you're just stuck with the emotions that don't make you feel good and you can't have an outlet with them, or at least be able to sit down with yourself and reflect on how you feel within yourself. So if it really is other people and you've tried everything you can, to make things better, but they're still not making you feel good, that's the end. Cut. That Pluto opposite Venus with the moon coming over it and really triggering it, like those that's not going to work. But at the same time, like, got to deal with these things on ourselves too, and have that, like, that grown-upness, like that moon in Capricorn kind of, that's why the moon's a detriment there. It's not comfortable. We have to like grow up in Capricorn. So it's an emotional like expansion of like growing up and defining our destiny and how we truly feel about so many different things that have showed up over the past month in our lives. And the moon's going to come into Aquarius, and I think that helps us disconnect. So there's definitely this. Saturday's not terrible. It's just like you have to express how you're feeling. And if you're not getting the reciprocation or the win-wins in life, disconnect, because that's not where the connections are at. And if you can successfully disconnect from what isn't making you feel good or in your authenticity or unique, then that's not ideal. But if you can, you're good. And that's great. And it's going to quincunx the sun as well in Cancer. So it's like important to understand that you don't have to connect to every energy in life, and you can let some things go. And if you let some things go, you'll probably feel better. So Saturday's interesting because we're kind of going to want to disconnect from all the emotions that we felt over the first week really of Cancer season, which is okay. We do need to disconnect at times. See where the guidance is taking you, see where things are feeling, and how do you act in that direction? And Mars is coming to 9 degrees, very action oriented. So you got to act out for your individual feelings, not just everyone's. Make sure that you're dealing with your stuff right now. It's a big one for Saturday. Sunday, we're going to see the sun come to 6 degrees. It's Venus, Libra. We're going to find some sort of balance by Sunday where we're going to be open to receive what's shown up, what is balanced out within our emotions. It's going to be good, and we're going to see the moon, Saturn. So I think Saturn's actually bringing some stability to our emotions by letting us be objective of what we want to feel and what we don't want to feel, so that we can be a little cold with Aquarius also, and like make a cut, make a disconnection if we're not feeling things in life anymore. And this could be money, this could be relationship, this could be a lot of things. And Mars goes to the second decan at 10 degrees, and Venus goes to 0 Scorpio. So, we're going to see if the heart's really in it with relationships, and if it's really in it, with yourself and how you create and how you express your true, authentic self in the purest form. And are you having fun? Are relationships, or the people you're with fun? I think that Venus coming into Libra does ask us to like really look at like what brings us fun and joy and happiness as well. And are we open to receiving that energy, or are we in a crotchety state with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius and a moon on Saturn, which is going to be making nice aspects to the nodes and Mercury, but it also squares Uranus. So Sunday is very interesting, and we're also seeing Mars at 10 get really close to the square to Uranus and starting to oppose Saturn. So next week is a doozy. Next week is a dandy. And I think Sunday really is a great day to be objective about how you're feeling, to be open to receiving the goodness, the beauty, the fun, the excitement of life, and to move into that direction, and to disconnect from a lot of things, whatever they may be, that are taking you out of that, because you have to make those decisions for yourself, and that's where the healing is. And we see your Chiron and Saturn in sextile with the moon there, while the moon does square Uranus. So Chiron's at this like sweet spot, it's in semi-sextile to Uranus and sextile to Saturn, but it's in Aries where we have to pioneer a new way forward based on the connections and how we're feeling, and we don't want to just hop in line. If you're hopping in line for something you don't feel good about or doesn't bring you happiness or joy, it won't be fun. But I don't think it's going to happen because you're going to be in way too much of a rebellious sort of Aquarian state at that point. And with the sextile to Chiron, you're going to see that the healing is truly in your authenticity, within how you strive forward and push forward with how you're feeling, with your heart, and with your spiritual mind, with Neptune and Mercury coming to 18, and getting serious about that spiritual mind and getting serious about that spiritual mission that a lot of this week was a build-up for a destiny shot of a new chapter and a new story, and not holding back from it. Truly appreciate you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the weekly horoscope and a look through the planets and my little interpretation of it this week. So grateful that you decided to join me. If you enjoyed this content, please do consider becoming a member at fixedairmoon.com. That would be outstanding. If you can not do that, but you did appreciate this video, please do hit the like button. It would help the channel grow, and I would be so grateful for that as well. And I'm truly sending you my best, and I hope that this week you feel into everything you need to feel to make the best choices for where you're going and what you're trying to build, and what's the next step on this ladder of life. And that's a big part of this week. But it's about surrendering and taking action at the same time. Surrendering that the only thing that's going to make you or get you up that ladder is you. Card for the week is the Tower card. Can't make this stuff up. It feels like a Tower week energetically, because we're feeling into a lot of changes and a lot of things that have shown up. And, I don't think we need to be scared of what's crumbling. I think, whatever is taking off or crumbling in life is 100% karmically, spiritually meant to not be there. We don't want to hold on to stuff. Venus in opposition to Pluto can want to hold on to things and obsess over things that are no longer serving. And I think that's a big part of this week. And a big thing with Jupiter going retrograde is the spiritual karma as well. We can't be scared of a Tower moment in life, because the Star card comes after the Tower, and it's never the end. It's just something that we're scared of, and some unforeseen change. And there's nothing to be scared of. Whatever change shows up is going to actually help you feel better in some way or another. It might not be right in the moment, but when you sit down with yourself at that round table with yourself, your guides, your higher self, and God, you're going to see that it had a very powerful purpose and meaning to take you to that next tier of your existence here and your own personal evolution. So do not be scared of a Tower moment this week, but embrace it, because it is through that change that you're going to find your definition and the top of what it is you want, what it is you believe you want, how to believe in yourself. And it could just be the Tower moment of not believing in ourselves enough that gets toppled over, that helps us ultimately believe in ourselves to the highest degree. As always, I'm so grateful for you. I want to thank David Palmer, the Leo King, for teaching me astrology. I took all his courses. Great teacher, great astrologer, my all-time favorite. Thank you so much to him. Thank you so much, Christopher Witecki. Again, learned so much from his channel and his step astrology. It changed the way I did astrology. It's very powerful stuff, and he's the one who channeled that. And I all due respect to that, and truly appreciate that he brings that out to people to use and to work with as well. I also want to thank Robert Phoenix for always spitting that truth every day on his channel, 15 Minutes of Flame, being a super solid astrologer and an absolute truth bringer to society, and trying to help crack codes in this reality, because we could all use another source of what's going on from another angle, and Robert Phoenix does an outstanding job of that. All right, I'm out of here. I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Peace.